Grand jury has indicted Torrance Hatch, otherwise known as Lil Boosie, on first-degree murder charges.
Shit, my co-defendant killed 9 people.
The little kid got life without parole at 16 years old, my nigga.
Welcome back to another episode of Tru-Street TV, where we cover everything street related. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and let's get right into it. Today's story brings us to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the capital city of the state, and it has around 250,000 residents. Baton Rouge is also home to famous rappers like Boosie, NBA Youngboy, Maine Music, and a few more. A study done a few weeks ago shows Louisiana is the most dangerous state in the country, and the city of Baton Rouge in particular has many problems, including very high poverty and has a violent crime rate higher than the national average. In turn, Baton Rouge is a very dangerous city and has many misled youth all throughout the city. And today's story brings us back in time to around 2001. Boosie Badass was the hottest rapper in Baton Rouge and signed to Trill Entertainment, a record label owned by two Baton Rouge guys named Turk and Mill. Boosie would go on to release multiple projects, including 2 classic albums alongside Webby, and Boosie made a huge mistake at this point, as many rappers do, as although he now had the money to leave his city, he stayed behind and things would quickly begin to go wrong. He would lose 2 close friends to the streets during his come up, including Ivy in 2005 and Lil Finn in 2008. Boosie also had an ongoing beef with another rap group in Baton Rouge called DCF, especially the face of their group, who was a rapper who went by the name Nussy.
Nussy Badass and Boosie Badass. What's the deal with that?
Well, to be honest with you, Nussy Badass really was just like a joke.
Me and Lil Boosie hooked up, and we talked because they had a lot of street issues going on in the streets. Negative, with my name in it, mixed with his name, you know.
And that brings us to the young man by the name of Michael Loading, who was known in the streets as Marlo Mike. Marlo Mike was 15 years old at this time, and he is from the Uptown neighborhood in Baton Rouge. Marlo was close friends with a local rapper who went by Lil Fat. Lil Fat also happens to be the son of Mill, who is one of the owners of Trill ENT. According to court documents, word was spread around the streets that Boosie had $25K on Nussy's head, and after hearing this, Marlo would have Lil Fat bring him to Boosie's house. Boosie wasn't present at the house at the time, but Marlo would meet up with one of Boosie's little guys named Michael Judson, who went by the nickname Ghost. On February 9, 2009, Marlo and Ghost would begin sliding around the area Nussy is known to be at, and they would eventually spot him at a gas station and follow him home. The duo will go on to shoot Nussy, real name Chris Jackson, through the window of his house, killing him. The man will quickly get away, and news began breaking of Nussy's death throughout the city, and Boosie wanted to meet Marlo and brought him to his house, allegedly only giving him $2,800 instead of the $25K he was expecting. But Marlo was just happy to be around Boosie and was happy to have some money in his pocket. And a few months after this, on April 12, 2009, while Boosie was on house arrest, he had threw a small party at his house. A man was caught stealing out of Boosie's bedroom, and they would end up beating the man up. The police would show up and would see Boosie standing over the man and would take him to jail on battery charges.
Local rapper Torrance Hatch, better known as Lil Boosie, was arrested today on aggravated second-degree battery charges from a fight they say happened at his house on April the 12th. Sheriff's officials say when Boosie and a few others showed up at the house, there was some sort of a confrontation about the man stealing one of Boosie's necklaces. We're told that's when a fight broke out. Fists and possibly even a vase were used in the fight. One man was taken to the hospital with non-threatening injuries.
The man they beat up went by the name of Marcus Thomas. Just 13 days later, on April 25th, Marlo and Ghost were sitting outside of Marcus's house, and when Marcus pulled up to his house, the duo would pull up right next to his car and begin opening fire into Marcus's car, killing him. Marlo quickly developed a reputation in the streets and became a known killer, and was barely getting paid for it, which is crazy to think about. Boosie also has a daughter named Toriana, which he is seen going back and forth with, as they don't have a good relationship to this day.
I'm taking her out my wheel in the moon. You call my daughter a bitch. I'm gonna black her fucking eye when I see her. I wish you would put your hands on my eye.
His child's mother is a woman named Rochelle Wagner. Rochelle had an older stepbrother who was known for getting wild in the streets, and he had beat multiple murder charges. His name is Terry Boyd. In the summer of 2009, Terry was finishing up a prison sentence in Angola. One of Boosie's friends was also locked up in Angola at the time and would overhear Terry talking crazy about Boosie. And Terry was later released on September 30th, 2009. But right before Terry was released, Boosie would drop his highly anticipated album on September 15th titled Superbad. This album included many classic Boosie songs, including Mind of a Maniac,
I keep a gat cause niggas murder. Got a bad habit of purple in the studio, I murk you. I'm coming, man.
and Better Believe It. Turk and Mill also put Mill's son Lil Fat on one of the songs behind Boosie's back, and this created some tension between Boosie, Lil Fat, and Turk and Mill. And once he was released, the threats Terry Boyd allegedly made towards Boosie would end up being a huge mistake, as on October 21st, 2009, Marlo and Ghost would be given the location to Terry's crib and shoot and kill him through his window, just as they had did before. And this was a crazy move by Boosie, as Terry was still his daughter's uncle at the end of the day.
He beat 5 murder charges. He was a known robber in the city. He beat his mama with a 2x4. He been shot 29 times on 6 different occasions.
Marlo would again receive just under $3,000 for this, but he was satisfied with that, and shortly after this murder, he would get a tattoo on his stomach that said, "Yo Boosie, who next?"
So apparently Mike has a tattoo that says, "Yo Boosie, who next?"
Yeah.
Around this same time, on November 9, 2009, Boosie would release a song called Boss Man. This song is crazy when told the backstory, as Boosie begins the song saying them niggas did that for the boss man, and the chorus says, "Boosie, I got you."
Them niggas did that for the boss.
Surprisingly, Ghost and Marlo would appear on this song as well. At the top of the new year of 2010, Ghost, real name Michael Judson, would be killed by a masked gunman while celebrating the new year. Nobody would ever be arrested for this, and it's still not known who was responsible for this murder. And just a few months later, on April 1st, Marlo would be back spinning and would allegedly kill a man named Charles Matthews, as well as Daryl Milton, who went by Bleak. He is known to be a close friend of Boosie during his come up, and plenty rumors will begin spreading after this murder, as him and Boosie weren't seeing eye to eye at the time. More rumors will begin spreading that Boosie ordered the hit on the man who was sitting next to Bleak and had no intention on his friend dying, and this will be the downfall of Boosie and Marlo's relationship.
It was like Bleak was set up. They was like, Marlo Mike sprayed the car up and he knew he was in that car, and that was Boosie's boy.
And just a few months later, things would begin to get much worse, as Marlo would get arrested for aggravated assault and terrorizing charges after being involved in a fight. While in jail, Marlo would end up sitting down with detectives and telling them about every murder he committed with precise details, including how much Boosie paid him for each one. And following this, on June 17, 2010, police would raid Boosie's mansion and charge him with first-degree murder in the killing of Terry Boyd, who again was Boosie's baby mama's brother. Marlo Mike, 17 at the time, would obviously be indicted for this murder as well. And for now, both of the men will go on to fight the charges, and word began spreading that people close to Boosie were reaching out to Marlo to convince him not to testify against Boosie.
Baton Rouge Parish Grand Jury has indicted Torrance Hatch, otherwise known as Lil Boosie, on first-degree murder charges. Lil Boosie was indicted in the October 21st shooting death of Terry Boyd.
And just 2 years later, in May of 2012, Marlo would do just that and would get on the stand in Boosie's behalf, saying Boosie never told him to do anything and that he lied about his involvement.
He then changed his story and said he did not kill Terry Boyd, and he says Mr. Hatch, Torrance Hatch, did not pay him to do so.
Did he take the stand at all?
He took the stand on me. For me though. He got me indicted, but when it's time for court,
what do you mean he got you indicted? Explain.
He got me indicted. He said
you did it.
Yeah.
And then he changed his mind?
Yeah, when it was time for trial, he got on the stand and told the truth.
He was pretty much the main evidence they had against Boosie. Besides music and rumors, Boosie would be found not guilty at trial, although he still had to stay in prison as he was caught sneaking drugs into jail, and he did receive a hefty 8-year prison sentence for that.
Boosie and a girlfriend, along with a former Dixon Institute guard and inmate, were also indicted on drug charges.
Marlo would later go to trial himself for the Terry Boyd murder the next year in April of 2013, being found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Marlo Mike is now around 30 years old and recently did a phone interview with Terrence Gangsta Williams.
So let me ask you this. How long you been locked up now?
14 years.
14 years. Wow.
He would also fight for a sentence reduction as he was just a teenager when he committed the murder, but this will be denied, and as of today, it's looking like Marlo Mike will most likely spend the rest of his life in prison. If you enjoy this kind of content, hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
The little kid got life without parole at 16 years old, my nigga. Juvenile life.
Look, Marlo Mike in the back itching for a body is what he said.